to the ball game. Take me out to the ground.
Hey, howdy, hi! And top of the morning to you, or whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to the sports page. Finally decided on a name and just thought it would be easy just to call this the sports page, as we are going to get you going in the world of sports every day. It's going to drop around late morning, and obviously you can grab it whenever you want. You can grab it during your lunch break. You can grab it during your smoke outside or on your way home from work, however you partake. So let's go ahead and dive into the topics at hand. Number one with the bullet, I think, would be tonight's football game. You've got the New England Patriots are traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. And that game tonight, right now the spread is 7 points. It's moved down to 6.5 on some books. But it's between 6.5 and 7 points. Game's in Atlanta. It'll be 8:20 p.m. Eastern kickoff. And it'll be on both Fox and NFL Network. Some things to look at in this game. Obviously, everybody wants to know the betting spread, wants to know where to go with that. I don't have a strong opinion on this. What I do like in this is taking New England as a teaser and adding another game that you might like on the weekend with it. So you grab New England and tease it down to 6. If you're getting it at 6.5, then you tease it down to just a half point, and then you can take those other 6 and put it somewhere else. I've told you that I thought that a good tease you can play, which you might want to add to this, you take New England to just get the win, and you take the San Francisco 49ers to just get the win, and there you'll have your teaser set up. New England should put up a decent amount of points tonight. I can't imagine that New England is going to struggle against the Atlanta offense. Now, the other thing you're looking at here with the Atlanta offense is Atlanta is going to be a game time decision with Cordero Patterson, and that's a huge deal. He leads the team in rushing. He's second in receiving. They get him involved a lot in the offense. But if you wait to see if he's going to play or not, the moment it gets announced that he is not or he is going to play, they're going to take the number off the board. And if he's not going to play, I believe most books will push this up around 8 points. If he is going to play, you're going to see the number come down a bit, maybe down to 5. So if you're willing to take that gamble and to see where it lands, so be it. But right now, it's between 6.5 and 7, depending on the book that you're at. Earlier in the morning yesterday, it was at 6. So if you got it then, that was the ideal number if you're going to go to the New England line. I don't believe it's going to go down. If it does, it won't go down a whole lot unless you find out Cordero Patterson's going to play. I honestly don't think he's going to play. Everything that I've read, it doesn't look like he's going to play, but we'll see. He is a game-time decision. And then the over-under is 47. New England with 27 and Atlanta 20 with the team totals. If Patterson does not play, Atlanta's going to struggle to score. If Patterson does play, they can probably get to that 20 mark. So I think a lot of this has to do with Patterson, because if Patterson does not play, look for Wayne Gallman to get most of the carries if you're looking to stream someone in fantasy. They were working Wayne Gallman into the offense last week. Mike Davis will get his load, but Mike Davis just seems like, I don't know, the best way I can put it is it looks like Mike Davis has blown a flat. He's blown a flat, and you want to get off those tires because Davis is going to get around 10 to 12 touches, and I think the explosiveness is still there with Gallman, and they're going to try to get him involved in the passing game. So if you're looking for someone to stream fantasy-wise in this game from the Atlanta side, if you do not have Patterson to go, Gallman most likely will get involved in catches out of the backfield. He did that a lot with New York. And so if you're in a PPR format, you like your chances with Wayne Gallman. Moving on from that, we head over to the Cy Young Award winners in the American League and the National League. Let's start with the National League, as you have Corbin Burnes taking home the trophy. Looking at their numbers, I don't hate the Burnes play here. The one thing I will say for folks that felt like it should have been Scherzer, and that's where most people kind of went with. Some said Zach Wheeler, although he didn't pitch that great down the stretch. Scherzer had those two really bad outings at the end of the season, and I think that's what killed him. But the one thing I'll say about Corbin Burnes, if you want to take away with this, now the guy had 234 strikeouts on 167 innings, which is phenomenal. A .94 ERA, .94 WHIP and a 2.43 ERA. All those numbers are phenomenal. And he ended up beating everyone out. He got the same amount of first place votes as Wheeler. Scherzer is the one that really hurt himself. He ended up finishing way behind in third, and I believe firmly it's because of those two horrendous outings at the end of the season. The voters always remember what they last saw. Wheeler, and remember, the Cy Young is never like the MVP. No one ever takes into consideration when they vote for the Cy Young if the team's going to make the playoffs or not. So it's strictly an award for what did you do this year and how did you perform on the field. And maybe that's how the MVP should be. I always lean towards give it to the guy. If you're going to call him most valuable, then he should be the guy that helped you get to the playoffs. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Wheeler got 12 first place votes. What really tipped the balance in, or tipped it into the favor of Corbin Burnes, was 14 second place votes over Wheeler's 9, and then Burnes only had one fourth place vote. He only had one. Wheeler had 4. Scherzer had 6. So you didn't have a lot of people who didn't put, well, actually you only had one that didn't put Corbin Burnes in their top 3. And that's what brought it home. That's what got the W. But the one thing I'll say about this whole thing, Corbin Burnes only pitched 167 innings. And he's very dominant. But they always pull him around the 5th inning because that's what the Brewers do. And when you go out there and you reward someone who has pitched very few innings per outing, his numbers are going to be better than the guy who goes out there like Scherzer, who goes 7-8 innings every time out. Because it's when they see you through that 3rd and 4th time through the lineup is when you're going to have a problem. Burnes rarely saw teams pass the 2nd time through the lineup. Once they did, they got him out of there. Now, look, the Brewers are out there trying to win a game, but I would take that into consideration. You look at his innings pitched compared to the other guys, they are dwarfed. And that's the one thing that I will say that I don't agree with. And that's why I probably wouldn't have put Burnes as my Cy Young winner. Let's head over to the American League. Robbie Ray won the Cy Young award there. I think he well deserved it. I know there were a lot of people in the New York media that thought it was Cole. Cole, here's how dwarfing it was. Robbie Ray, 29 of the 30 first place votes. He got 1 second place vote. Garrett Cole got 1 first place vote. That is it. The rest, as it winds out, was Lance Lynn, Eovaldi, Rodon. Rodon had a couple of nice pockets in the season where he was really good, but he also faded down the stretch. So, and we could go on and on and on about all the different votes, but essentially Robbie Ray was absolutely dominant. He bet on himself last year. He was a free agent. He signed a 1-year deal, and now he hits the free agent market one more time in the prime years of his career, coming straight off a Cy Young award where he had a 2.84 ERA, a 104 WHIP, 193 innings pitched, a 6.7 WAR, and was absolutely phenomenal. He's a strikeout machine. And when you talk about Robbie Ray, who in 2020 struggled mightily, and the Blue Jays brought him in and took a chance on him, you got to love that. So congratulations to the guys that did win it. Quick news and notes on the NFL and what's going on there. Some injury updates. Kyler Murray says he hopes to play. They are trying to work him around in the game planning, and he did hit the practice field yesterday, though he was limited. And Aaron Rodgers did not practice because of that toe injury. He said that he does hope to play and expects to play, but we'll see how that unfolds throughout the week, because you're going to get some issues going into the weekend with different injuries, but none is bigger than Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he will play this weekend, because without Aaron Rodgers, that offense looks atrocious. And, of course, Green Bay this weekend, they're at the Vikings. It is a divisional game. They do have a 3-game lead on Minnesota, so if Rodgers isn't quite right, they're not going to risk it. They're going to go ahead and just roll out Jordan Love and take their lumps, so to speak. And the Vikings haven't been particularly outstanding themselves, though they did get the big win on the road last week. Vikings just 4-5 on the year. Bosa for the Chargers. He is on the COVID list, so we'll see what that means. Most likely he won't play this weekend, but we'll see how that works out. And the Bucs, they lose Richard Sherman to the IR, so he's gone for at least 3 weeks as he is dealing with a nagging injury. And Alvin Kamara comes back to practice after missing a game. So some of these are injuries, some of these are COVID. But regardless, with Thanksgiving approaching, the COVID-19 cases are starting to rise, and the NFL on Tuesday night issued a memo to its teams, and they are ramping up the protocols. So we'll see which teams adhere to it and which teams do not. But effective November 29th, all NFL teams will be required, to have video cameras installed in their weight rooms and cafeterias, including weight rooms that are outdoors or in practice bubbles. Teams must maintain the video and keep the cameras going and keep the video retained for 30 days in case the league needs to review it. And there's all kinds of other things. But this is, man, I'll tell you what, Big Brother's watching now. Because Big Brother doesn't want to lose a bunch of players on a bunch of teams to the COVID protocols heading towards the playoff season. And that's what this is really coming down to. They want everyone to know that they are watching. And you can like that, you can love it, you can hate it. Regardless, it is a situation where I don't believe a lot of players are going to like it themselves. I think a lot of players are going to push back on this. A lot of players are going to be upset about it. There's not a lot they can do because they agreed to it in the last CBA when they sat down to talk about the COVID issues. So there you have that. And big night of football tonight. You've got the Patriots versus the Falcons. Like I said, that is going to kick off at 8:20 Eastern. And then you do have some college football tonight. It's nothing that exciting, but you do have some college football tonight. You've got Louisville at Duke. Louisville is a 20-point favorite. The over-under 60.5. That is the big one of the night. There's a couple of minor leagues that are playing tonight, but essentially that's your college football game of the night. They've got to do a better job of putting better college games together during the week if they want us to watch any of this junk. I'm sorry, but Louisville Duke, at no point, at any point of this past calendar year, did anyone think that was a big matchup. Sometimes you get screwed by the injury bug or a team just doesn't play as well as they should have. Louisville Duke at no point was on anybody's radar saying, all right, let's go. Middle of November, come on. Can't wait to watch those two battle it. And this is where I think the Pac-12 drops the ball. The Pac-12 should have more games on Thursday night and Friday night where they're not competing with the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, etc. And if the ACC is going to put a game on, Louisville Duke is a stinker. It is an absolute stinker. Do better. All right, we're coming towards the end of it, so let's go ahead and turn back time and get some birthdays kicking here today as we're going to be adding that to the show. All right. Turn back time today. On this date in 1987, Andre Dawson becomes the first player from a last place club to win the MVP. Now that same year, Bell of the Blue Jays won the MVP. That was the first time in the history of the award that the MVP went to two players in the same league, in both leagues, where neither team made the playoffs. That's going to happen again this year. Because they're going to give it to either Bryce Harper or Tatis in the National League, which I don't believe they deserve. I've been beating this drum for quite a while. I believe that it should have been Austin Riley the entire time. The guy was consistent and put Atlanta on his back at times when Freddie Freeman didn't play well. But they're going to give it to one of those two guys. And then over in the American League, it's going to be Ohtani. And if it's not Ohtani, it's going to be Vlad. And neither one of those teams even sniffed the playoffs. So I believe it should be Vlad. That's who I would vote for, because his offensive prowess was so dominant, and Toronto was in the playoff race until the end. The Angels were just playing exhibition games out there. The Angels have not played an important baseball game in like a decade. And so when Ohtani or Trout goes out there and they put out these huge numbers, it's not impressive because there's no pressure on the player. And that's why when the MVP award comes up, I always side with who made the playoffs. I know that's not everybody's criteria, but that's mine. Who made the playoffs, because that player was valuable. Without Shohei Ohtani, the Angels still would have been a miserable wreck and would have done nothing in the 2021 season. Vlad Jr. pretty much kept Toronto on everybody's radar throughout the month of September because of what he was doing. Now, they didn't make the playoffs, but I feel like you should at least be in the hunt. And the Angels haven't been in the hunt in the playoffs since the rally monkey of, 2002 when they won the World Series? I know they've had good years since then, but you catch my drift. The Angels have been irrelevant for a long, long time. All right, birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
All right, happy birthday.
Guess I'll try to explain that.
As we go,
It was the first time your parents.
first of all, 1928. So we're talking about the 93rd birthday of Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse turns 93. So happy birthday, Oswald the Rabbit, or Mickey Mouse as he is known today. Also happy birthday, arguably the greatest quarterback to ever strap him up for the Titans organization. It was the Oilers organization. Happy 65th birthday to Warren Moon. Warren Moon played for the Oilers, and he was a part of that fun and gun offense that was an absolute delight to watch in the late 80s, early 90s. Also happy birthday, a happy 53rd birthday to Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield turns 53, and if it weren't for the steroids, would probably be in the Hall of Fame. And speaking of steroids, even though everyone's going to look past his, happy 46th birthday to Big Papi, and arguably the most clutch batter we have ever seen year in and year out in at least the modern era. I know Derek Jeter was huge, but Big Papi seemed to be on another level. He wouldn't just get the big hit, he'd get the big 3-run home run. So happy birthday to all those folks, and we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Major League Baseball, so we'll do a Braves country today, but it'll be here on the sports page. We will see you mañana. Of course, we got a full show on the Friday morning Wake Up Y'all show. Have a great day, y'all.
Take me out to the ball game.